We had a look like the Streamlabs OBS was not happy and it shut down on my side, so I have been able to restart it. So if you have just joined us, apologies for that, but currently Jacques Racing out in front, 123.3, followed by Jakes who's 0.4 behind him. And I forgot that we can bring up the actual timetable, so we're able to see what the lap times are that the guys are actually doing. So Jake's at 123.7, 123.9 for Marius. Jason's on a 123.9 as well. Ross 124.0, and I'm pretty sure that Jacques Racing had that exact time of a 124.009. Marshall in 6th place, Ashley down in 7th, then Stephen in 8th place. We're expecting Stephen to get a little bit further up the order there. Ronaldo's in 9th, then Pete in 10th, Reeve in 11th place, and Ryan in 12th. Let's just make sure that we do have everyone. Are there people that why am I stuck in here? There we go. Yes, thank you so much, Brandon. We had a little bit of a problem there. Greg Thompson has joined us as well. Welcome back, Greg. It's been a while that you joined us. We all know him as Riot, the original Greg, and not the Yanaman Greg. I did hear a little click in the ear a little bit early on, and that's because I see that Sarge has come and joined us as well. So Sarge, good evening. I honestly thought you might just jump in this race, looking at how you were doing in those times. So kudos goes out to Brandon Dos Santos because you officially have the dibs version 2.0. So well done there, but very close times in the end there. Jake's managing to close up a 0.2 of a second between himself and Jacques. Morris still half a second off the pace, and Jason 0.6. It's good to see that the top 6 drivers are all within a second. And it is Bentley, Porsche, Bentley, Merc, then Bentley. So it looks like the Bentleys are going to be faring pretty strongly here this evening. So guys, if you are new to the SARCO stream, welcome. We must just keep apologizing that our setup that we have here, the graphics that are up, unfortunately we don't get to control that. So what you're seeing is the graphics directly from the game. Ashley, I might just need to mute you because your changing of the gears is just coming back through on the stream.
Sure.
If you don't mind, so I'm just going to mute you. So quite surprisingly, we see that Connor down in 18th place. He hasn't got a lap time in, and I was pretty sure he should have been a little bit further up there, because he did come 3rd. Because if we do look at the current points, we do have Jacques Racing, who is out in front. Jacques having won the first race last week. Then we have Jason, who's in 2nd place. He scored himself 50 points, so he is 10 behind Jacques, who's currently leading this championship. Then Connor is in 3rd, followed by Ross, and then Craig, who's not racing, but he's actually not at his home at this stage. Then we got Stig's boss, who's Sean. He's not hasn't joined us this evening. We then got Pete. He's currently in 7th place, 22 points. Steven's in 8th. Then we've got Ethan racing for the GT Racing team in 9th place. Memo currently in 10th. Robert, he's 11th. Tyler 12th. Duppy in 13th. Ryan in 14th. Ashley's 15th, Marshall in 16th, and then Jake's, Marius, Ronaldo, who are racing this evening, are still to score. So guys, while we're just waiting for the countdown to go, we can just have a quick message from our sponsor.
20 seconds. 10 seconds.
So guys, if you would like to find out more about our sponsor, Deliver Your Parcel, you're able to check out all the details. They are in the description below. Deliver Your Parcel will give you a preferential rate. All you need to do is just quote a SARCO within any special instructions, and that SARCO preferential rate will be given to you. They have just launched a new website, so go and check it out. They do make it very, very easy to book online. These controls, honestly. Oh, okay, alright. So I cannot change them yet. So I do need to wait until they've crossed the line before I can change the camera once again. So, as I was saying, that Deliver Your Parcel have made it very easy to book a delivery, a collection from wherever you are, send it not only locally but internationally. They will be able to quote on your current business whatever the requirements are. So if you do have any courier needs, feel free to contact Deliver Your Parcel and they will be able to assist you. Looking at the comments once again, Brandon Santos saying we are back. Greg saying how's it? Dirkie saying, Dylan, were you not supposed to race yourself? Dirkie, on the Thursday it's a little bit difficult for me, and that's because the cameras and the controls all need to be controlled here from my house, and that's because we don't have a director as such. That person can't take over, even though the commentators are able to go into the Discord and commentate. The cameras need to be controlled from here. Then Paul Fenter saying, let's go Jacques, woohoo, Eleanor, pole position. A big how's it to Dylan. Paul, lucky to have you back, man. Watching. And then Brent Henshaw saying, go Marius. So welcome, Brent. So as all 18 of the drivers start lining up, they will be going a double file into turn number 1. Then I should be able to get all the camera views back once again. But there's Jacques out in front. He crosses the line, and that is now us officially racing. There it is. So we are racing now at Laguna Seca, round number 2. Of our German versus the British Tour, and Jacques going defensive there into turn number 1, and it's good to see a lot of the guys leaving enough space as they exit out of which is now is actually effectively turn number 2, because that little kink just off the start finish line is essentially a turn number 1. I do need to just return to the garage so that I'm able to change some of the camera views. Just want to jump a little bit further down. But so far it doesn't look like there's any problems, as Morris has a look on the inside of that looks like Ross. So it looks like Morris might have just dropped back ever so slightly, but did manage to get that position back from a Ross. In the black Mumbos, that is Jason just behind his stablemate Jake's. But there's a car dropping down the order. I think that is Ronaldo, side by side. Oh, there's Ronaldo having a little spin there, and he's just touched a few cars there. No, not that. So just going back to Ronaldo now, unfortunately dropping down to just about the last place as he crosses the line. But if we go back to the front, so Jacques starting to open up a gap between himself and Jakes. And once again, it is Jason chasing down Jakes, very similar to what we saw last week. Marius not out of it just yet. And Ross starting to close up, but then Marshall doing very well currently in 6th place. That was where he qualified. Behind him is Stephen, the second of the Black Mamba drivers, with Sly Pete also in that Bentley starting to close up. 0.6 of a second is the gap there. Ryan up into 9th place. That's a really good position for Ryan, and I'm sure he's enjoying being where he is currently. Reeve up into 10th. And it's good to see Reeve really like the colours that Reeve has applied to his AMG. Ashley 4.8 seconds further down the field. So there is definitely a gap starting to open up from a 10th place down. Connor starting to make his way through the field now. He's up into 12th. And we know that his partner Craig from the Yugi, he's not racing this evening. They're more in 13th place, followed by Ethan in those very, very unique colors. I have mentioned before how much I do like the color scheme there. Then Ronaldo down in 15th, with Robert Stoltz in his McLaren down in 16th, followed by Tyler in 17th place, and then Jean looks like he's taken some damage, needing to go into the pits. So Jacques starting to open up a gap as he goes through turn number 6. Now heading up the hill towards the corkscrew. He'll then get it down towards the rainy curves into turn number 9. A little a touch of the brake, get that nose turned in, and back on the power down into turn number 10. Then it is all the way down to 11, hard on the brakes. Just be careful not to take too much curb on the inside, because it can just bump you off and you can run wide, and it does give you a track limit on the exit of turn number 11. And quite interestingly enough is nobody has pitted yet. Normally we see the guys that start pitting earlier on. We do know that Jean is in the pits. Ross now starting to close up on Morris. You can see that he's now within half a second. So will Morris be able to fend off the mighty Bentley around here? And then currently Marshall, the fastest of the AMGs, he's in 6th place with another Bentley chasing him, but that gap is now extended up to 1.7. So Pete is going to have his work cut out, because he does have... Oh, Stephen gets a little bit of a tank slap exiting out of turn number 6. Apologies, that was turn 5 as he runs wide into 6. And that's going to allow Ryan to move up a place. And there's that confirmation. So Ryan now up into 8th place. 2.3 seconds now behind Sly Pete. And it looks like Reeve and Ashley are going to start having a bit of a battle, because Ashley has been able to close that gap. There was about 4.6 seconds was the difference there. But now here's closed that gap down. Hearing some buzzing in the Discord, which means that there is probably a visitor that has come in. And it looks like it was actually Sarge that has left. We've got Mikkel Geldenay saying, "Lekker boys." Mikkel, welcome. Just let us know who you're supporting here this evening. We always do like to hear from the guys that are watching. Ross being able to, or Morris being able to open up that gap between himself and our Scottish international. That gap now more than a second. But now it's Morris that's closing up on the back of Jason. But it is still out in front. Jacques Racing now extended that lead to 5.7 seconds. So it definitely looks like he is starting to run away with this, but anything can happen. Remember, this is a 45-minute race with 38 minutes left to go. But it looks like Ashley's going to be making a move on Reeve. But as I say that, there's Stephen right behind them. So it looks like Stephen's having a bit of a problem. So he's decided to head off into the pits. But now Reeve's going to have the likes of Ashley and Connor to contend with. Just want to have a look at the lap times that the guys are getting as they start crossing the line. Is this on race? Yes, it is. So it hasn't given me the times that I was expecting. Oh, that looked like Ryan had made a mistake. So he was in 8th place. And unfortunately, he's now lost positions to Reeve, Ashley, and Connor. And he's going to have a Memo who's going to have... oh, that looked like that was Ethan and his teammate, Jean, coming together. And we know that Jean is a lap down. So the two teammates for the GT racing team heading back up the hill. So Mikhail say that he's supporting Marshall de Flum. And Marshall now up into 5th place, so I'm pretty sure that he's quite happy to see that. But Marius is now within a second now of Jason. So that is Jake's, Jason, and then Marius. But 7.5 seconds is the gap between Jacques Racing and Jake's. So Jacques really starting to put on the power and start opening up the gap. So we've got Reeve that's on the side of the road. Not sure what's happened there, whether there's been some contact. But Reeve is definitely not going and not moving. So starting to look at the drivers that have pitted, and oof, that's Ross getting very, very close to the back of the McLaren. Ross having pitted now, trying to close up the gap. He is racing one of those drivers for a position between Jean and Ethan. So there's that confirmation. So Jean has gone straight off. And Ross now still trying to chase down that 9th place, knowing that Ross has already done his pits. But I do want to just jump here into 3rd place, because looks like so Jakes must have made a mistake, because he's now dropped down from 2nd place. I thought he might have got into the pits. But now we've got Marius 0.3 of a second to the 2nd place man, Jason, in his Porsche. So it definitely looks like that Porsche is now starting to come alive. And this is something that I always enjoyed, is that I knew the first couple of laps the Porsche was always horrible. It just didn't feel balanced. But as soon as that fuel came down, all of a sudden the Porsche just comes together, and then it is really, really good. The last 3 or 4 laps are a bit dodgy, but that is when you generally are able to do what you need to bring it home. So Morris will across the line, 0.3 of a second, starting to really apply that pressure on the rear of Jason in that Bentley. So Dirkie Kellerman, you got it absolutely spot on. You're saying it looks like that Porsche is getting in touch 100%. That Morris is looking very comfortable at this stage, and really putting himself right in the back of that rearview mirror. So Pete in the Bentley, currently in a 6th place, 1.5 seconds between himself and Marshall. So now he heads up the hill towards the corkscrew. Very tricky braking point here. Pete did look like he closed up some time there, and there's a confirmation as he across the sector. He's now gone from 1.4 seconds. He's now within a second between himself and the driver in the Chasing Beavers. So the Rough Rider Sly Pete in 6th is definitely going to be putting a lot more pressure on Marshall in the next coming corners. But just jumping back to this battle here for a 2nd and 3rd place. Morris doing extremely well. Currently in a bit of a Mamba sandwich, because it is Jason driving for the Black Mambas ahead, and there's Jake's 2.6 seconds behind. So Doug, you've been watching on the sideline here. What do you think of this racing so far?
Good. It's all good fun.
And I'm pretty sure you're supporting Morris in his Porsche?
Oh, I'm just waiting for him to get past. My foot is actually pushing the accelerator.
So Morris now down to 0.3 of a second as they go into turn number 2. And at this stage, I'm sure Morris is just trying to find where he's able to get a little bit of an advantage over the Bentley in front of him.
He'll get him on the start and finish.
It's all about getting that drive in as he makes a little show to the inside. Let's see if we can't jump on board with him. So this is what Marius will be seeing. So you can see here on the corkscrew, getting that car slowed down, straighten up over the blind crest. You generally don't know what's down below you. Turning, touch that inside curve, up into 4th gear, tap down into 3rd, get the car turned in, rotated back on the power, then just waiting for that 2 board. You can see how Morris really forcing those gears to get that car slowed down, not only using the brakes himself, but using the engine to get that car slowed down as rapidly as possible. So we do have 30 minutes left to go of this race. We are all on a lap number 11. So 15 minutes gone, so we still have another 2/3 of the race to go. And I must say that Bentley in front definitely looks a lot calmer, I should say, because you can see how Morris is working the steering wheel as he runs a little bit wide, but keeps the foot pinned and coming off the dirt into a turn 5. Getting that power on nice and easy, but that Bentley just snapping just a little bit on the exit, which should allow Morris to close up as he gets turn number 6. Pretty good there. They're carrying 179 kilometers an hour on the exit up the Rahul straight, now back into the corkscrew. You can see how Jason just touches the brakes right at the end again just to get that nose down, allowing the car to turn in. Now through turn number 9, O'Grady is very close to that inside little sausage curve. That can definitely ruin the race for you. But there's Jake's in the background getting ever so closer. So while they are crossing the start-finish line, I just want to have a look at the timing. So Morris still trying to close that gap, but I do want to jump to a slight Pete, but just quickly because he has been able to catch up to Marshall, but still hasn't been able to find a way to get past him. And Dirkie saying Morris is working hard behind that wheel, most definitely, and I'm sure that we are going to be hearing from him, and he will definitely share how much hard work that was. Because you can see how much wheel input he was making. Really working extremely hard to keep his Porsche up on the back of Jason. And Dirkie, yes, you're right. Once again, it is extremely difficult to overtake on this track. There aren't really many overtaking opportunities. It's provided you get a good drive coming out of the last corner where we've just seen them coming. But you need to be able to draft all the way through turn number 1 and then into the Andretti hairpin. It is extremely difficult to brake on that inside because you've got to get that wide line. As Morris goes a little bit deep, so that's going to possibly cost him some time as Jason heads into turn number 3. So I'm just trying to do a quick calculation because there's like 13, 14, 15, 16 and a half. Just want to see what the split is for Marshall. So that's about 33 seconds is the gap between Jacques Racing and Ross. So there is your current race leader at 25 minutes in, and he is starting to catch up to some back markers. So that is either Tyler or Robert Stoltz in McLaren. So that is confirmation. So it is Robert starting to be caught by our race leader. And it's so strange that we keep jumping back to this battle between Morris and Jason. It seems we keep picking them up at very similar parts around the track. So Jason and Morris are starting to catch up to the battle between Ryan and Memo. So Ryan in the Bentley there in the 724 Bentley, and Memo in the number 8 Mercedes-Benz. And see the battle between Pete and Marshall is still underway. And we know that Ross pitted quite early. He was sitting in 5th place, did get his pit stop in, so he is currently the highest position in the qualifiers of the guys who have pitted. So it will be interesting to see where he slots in once the drivers ahead of him start going into doing their mandatory pit stop. That is what the orange with the little number 1 indicates on the timing board. It's saying that there is still that 1 pit stop that they need to get rid of. So that gap now between Jason and Marius now of 1.3 seconds, and Jake's at 2.1. So it doesn't look like Jake's is really making too much headway in catching Marius, but possibly just a little mistake that's allowed Jason to just pull away a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that Marius will be fighting with all his might to make up that ground once again, and hopefully do something when he goes into the pits.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
So a confirmation from the race director there. That's not who I was looking for. That's who I was looking for. Because now we have Ryan, who's overtaking Ethan. So Ethan has now dropped down the order, because Ethan was higher up, so he must have made a little mistake coming out of the last corner. But that was Ryan just dipping that outside wheel into the dirt, allowing Memel to close up even more. But it's he's just got to be careful, the 2 drivers in shot, because that's Jason starting to close up. And Morris has decided that he's going to go and do the pits. I didn't even see him going in. So he has come out. I think he might have felt that catching up to those back markers are going to slow him down, and he'd rather not be involved there. So decided to take the pits, but he has come out ahead of Ross. So there's Ross now coming through turn number 3. So that's about 10 seconds. Sure, 9.5 seconds is the distance there between Ross and Marius. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Jason and Jake's come out, knowing that they had some back markers to contend with. So Jacques Racing out in front. Now 17 seconds is the gap between himself as he makes a little mistake, touches the grass, the dirt on the outside. It just kicks that car ever so slightly, but he was able to hang on to it. Jason now in the pits. Where is Marius? So Marius is now only coming out of the last corner. Across the start-finish line is where he'll go now. So Jason will now be on the pit road, and there we can hear the Porsche going around the outside. This is going to be very close. Not that one, there we go. So Ashley gets out of the way and releases Marius. So Marius now with Jason in his sights once again. So it does look like that tactic that Marius had pulled, rather going into the pits, definitely found him some time back on Jason. Because as they get ready to cross that split, what is that time difference? So 1.2 seconds. So it looks like Marius was able to make up half a second, because the last time that we saw there was 1.7. So a very, very clever tactic there for Marius. And Ashley in 6th place. He still needs to get that pit stop done and dusted. Pete also now moves up into 3rd place, knowing that he too would need to pit. So looking at the times, so that's 10 seconds between Ross to Ashley plus another 1-2, that's 8 seconds. So Peter's got 18, 19, about 36. It's about 36 seconds. So Pete should technically come out ahead of Stephen once he has done his pit stop. But now that's interesting because here comes Jake's out of the pits. And there goes Marius as well as Jason. So Jake's just a few seconds behind them. So it looks like that Jake's pit stop did cost him just a little bit of time. Just want to see what that time is. So 2.8 seconds. That was around about the 2-second mark. So Marius was the bigger winner out of the two. And it doesn't seem that Jake's and Jason, the distance changed there much. So definitely a great effort there for Marius. So jumping back down, and this is where things are now starting to get pretty close, because we've got Stephen in 7th, then Ashley in 8th, then there's Marshall in 9th, and Memo in 10th place. But that is Ronaldo, apologies, who's actually down in 15th. So Marshall, after all his pit stops, he was up into 5th, but has dropped down into 9th place. So we have 17 minutes left, and Marius still not being able to find a way to get himself ahead of Jason. But was that a little mistake by Ashley, because now Ronaldo looked like he was going to go into the back of Marshall, but he did manage to just get out of the way right at the end there. So Jake's 3 seconds is the gap now between himself and Marius. So it does look like Jake's is starting to just lose some pace here in the latter part of the race. Then we do have Stephen, who's currently in a little bit of no man's land, because the drivers in front of him are already going down into turn number 10. While he's now only really going through turn number 9. So Marshall 1.4 seconds behind Ashley. And it does look like these guys are pulling Ronaldo with them. So understanding that Ronaldo is a couple of laps down, but still able to keep up in terms of the pace to the drivers in 8th and 9th place. So Jason now starting to close up onto the back of Pete, knowing that Pete still needs to pit. But we have seen Pete, who does try and leave it pretty much for the last 5 minutes. And I've just noticed that Jacques Racing on lap number 21, he has now gone in and done his pit stop. So looking at the drivers list, so we have lost Reeve, so he's no longer circulating, and the other driver is Connor, who is no longer in this race. So Pete really battling to get that power down, coming out of turn number 3. And I'm pretty sure he can now hear the black mamba breathing right up the back of his neck. We'll go into turn number 6. So does Pete let the next 3 cars pass, or does he fight them all the way until he decides to go and pit? Because the longer he stays ahead of Jason, the more chance Marius has to start closing up that gap. At the same time, it also allows Jakes to start closing up the gap to Marius. So Jason was almost going to have a look on the inside there at turn number 10, but Pete's decided that he's going to keep going. Jason, another little look to the inside at turn 11. And now Marius right on the back of that Bentley. So they're going to turn number 2. Pete decides. We've got Ethan who spins out, and now he allows the lead cars to go through. But as I was saying, is that with Pete needing to go and do the drive-through, that's going to drop him further down the order. So there's Ryan on the side of the track, allowing Jason to go past. So Morris will go around the outside there as well. And just looking comment here from Dirkie saying Jacques really has this game under his belt. Yes, he does. He definitely has found his groove. And there is Jacques. And you can just see the gap he's now opened up, because if you look at the little map, the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th have now just exited out of turn number 4. They're now entering into turn number 5, while Jacques is now really getting ready for the corkscrew at turn number 7. So there goes Sly Pete into the pits. Is he moving yet? So no, he has just gone in. So that releases Marshall. We now have Stephen coming through the last corner. So there's Pete still with the speed limiter on. We should see Stephen go past now. So there's Pete now down into 9th place. I'm sure he'll be a little bit disappointed with that. So now we've got confirmation that all 16 drivers have gone in. They have completed their pit stops. So now it is going to be the race to the end for the last 9 minutes. So just a big thank you, guys. Must go out to our sponsors. Deliver Your Parcel. Remember that they will be hosting a full team that will join the F400 endurance race. We take the top podium finishers of both the Monday night and the Thursday night, and a lucky draw will be done. And not only will 3 drivers get into a go-kart, which will be partnered by Deliver Your Parcel and SARCO, but you'll get to join some of the other drivers that do race in that F400 series that are part of the Monday night racing league. So it's the combination of getting the real life getting the sim drivers into real life situations. So Ashley must be pretty happy with his current progress. He wasn't feeling very confident going into this race, but now we see him up into a 7th place. Stephen down in 8th, so he's just been that's not Stephen, there's Stephen there. So it was Pete that's just been passed by our race leader. Then down in 10th place is Memo. So still currently in the point scoring range. Then Ryan was up in 7th place earlier on in the race. A little mistake in this exact corner, turn number 3. Did see him lose a few places, but I'm pretty sure that he'll still be quite happy with his current place. Ethan, he's had a very difficult race this evening, currently in 12th place. Ronaldo down in 13th position. But as mentioned, you can see that he is keeping up with Marshall, who's currently in 7th. So I'm pretty sure that Ronaldo goes very, very deep there into turn number 2 at the Andretti hairpin. Robert Stoltz up against the wall. So that's actually coming down through a rainy curve. It looked like he might have just got that a little bit wrong and put himself up against the wall. So he is down in 14th place. Then in 15 is Jean. Jean, unfortunately, not able to join us last week, but he is back for his team racing for the GT racing team. Then Tyler, he's back into the pits. Wonder whether he's called it a day or is getting some repairs done so that he is able to finish the last 5 minutes. But now all eyes go back to the battle for the second and third place. Memo now in between Morris and Jakes. So Memo getting out of the way there. You can see Memo rather deciding to go off track. So there is still some fight left in Marshall. Less than a second between himself and Ashley now. So is there still an opportunity for Marshall to move himself up into 6th place? Because 6th place is definitely worth more than 7th. So as they go into the corkscrew, Marshall a much tighter line through there, so that's going to give him an advantage. He should be able to close up a bigger gap between himself and Ashley with 4 minutes left. That is definitely gonna keep that pressure on, and I'm sure Ashley is watching that rearview mirror because Marshall has been closing up over the last couple of laps. We'll see as he crosses line. 0.7 is the gap there. Yo, that was very close. I thought Marshall might just come into contact with Ashley there, because Ashley looked like he went a little bit wider as Marshall held the inside line, and I generally do prefer that inside line. Keep the car nice and tight, and you basically make the two curbs as one. So Dirkie, you are 100% correct. The Porsche does not like light fuel, because what happens is that the fuel helps keep the front of the car down, and as soon as the fuel starts running out and it does get light, the car starts pushing the nose a little bit. You don't have the weight in the front that helps the car turn in, and it definitely starts oversteering way more on that power, because you just get that understeer oversteer feeling. So we are on lap 29. We've got 2 minutes, I was going to say 19, but say 2 minutes 15 now. When Jacques crosses the line, he should still be able to get this lap plus one more. So we will have two more laps to go. So Jacques catching up to Stephen, who is in 8th place. Stephen getting out of the way. Yeah, so thanks there, Durkee, for clearing that. Stain was just saying that there is heavy lag in the lobby. Unfortunately, this is how the game itself comes out when we're streaming. It is easier and clearer in the game, but you see how the cars just seem to float. So it is not ideal. But as we said, that we do try and make do with what we got. So Morris now just losing a little bit more time between himself and Jason, and still getting some messages coming through. So there's that confirmation. We are now officially on the last lap. So I do see that Tyler is out the pit, so it looked like he might have just gone in to get some damage repaired. And Marshall just losing a little bit of touch between himself and Ashley. So that gap now in more than a second. So Jacques will now go up through turn number 5. And now through one of the, I'd say, trickiest corners, because you want to be as fast through there as possible. As we see Steve in the background there going just a little bit wide. So Jacques through the corkscrew. Just touches the curb on the outside. So in through the last corner, and that is a back-to-back win there for Jacques Racing. An absolute stellar drive there from him. Some flashing of the lights there for Jason as he now heads into the last corner. Absolutely a great drive there from him. Also had Marius chasing him the entire race, and Jakes as well. Right behind Jacques, from right behind Marius, apologies. So Ross for the Green Mambas, he will come home in 5th place, and I'm sure that he'll be very happy with that. You can see weaving a left to right, followed by Ashley and Marshall. They still got a race going on here. Now heading into the corkscrew. Marshall looked like he tried to cut way too much of that corner, and that just bogged his speed down. So now they'll go into the last corner. Does Marshall have one last dive? Is Ashley able to just get that power on smoothly and not spin himself out? So across the line, Ashley in 6th place, Marshall in 7th. Stephen finishes in 8th with Pete in 9th. Memo is 10th, Ryan 11th. Ronaldo, he moves himself up into 12th place. Then we've got Ethan in 13th, Jean in 14th, Robert 15th, and then Tyler Scott down in 16th. And unfortunately, Connor and Reeve both retiring.
Nice one there. That was an amazing battle.
Green light, go, go, go.
Awesome race there, athlete.
Thanks, that was lekker, man.
Joke, yeah, awesome fun.
Leuk. Ek sê net daar het hulle iemand ek gaan nie interview nie.
Remember, that was a good race.
Right, guys, we're just waiting for the drivers to come and join us in the Discord. So we're starting to hear the buzzing of the drivers joining us. So far we just have Jason with us. Just waiting for Morris and Jacques.
Seems like they're not joining us.
Ah, I see the messages there. So Morris unfortunately not feeling well, and Jacques saying that his internet is just cut out. So I guess Jason, it's just you in the limelight this evening then.
Seems like
Look, Jason, an absolutely incredible race there from yourself. Morris was giving you quite a bit of a battle for the majority of that race, and that gap always in a second, out of a second, in a second, out of a second. And then it looked like he decided that he was losing a bit of time, went into the pits when there was a lot of traffic, and that basically closed up quite a bit of time. Were you worried that he might actually have leapfrogged you there when you did your pit stop?
yeah, I actually saw what he tried to do there. And I actually just went for the pits the next lap and hope I didn't lose too much time with the traffic there.
Yeah, it was because what had happened is that he was basically 1.3 seconds behind you when he went into the pits, and when he came out, he was 0.6. So he managed to make up nearly like a second there just by doing that. Obviously, with you now being aware of the traffic around, so I think the best thing that you could have done was pitted then. I think if you had waited just one or two more laps, you would have definitely got stuck in that traffic, and he would have probably got ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. I saw there was a lot of traffic in front of me, so I had to do my pit stop as well.
And what we are seeing is that so tricky to follow, but he was there for the majority of the race, but just couldn't figure out a way to get past you.
Yeah, he was quicker in sector 1 and 2, but the last sector, and actually the sector probably that counts the most with the straights, I was a bit quicker than him, and it's actually helped me a bit.
I suppose you got that brute force on the straight, and the only place you can really overtake here is that if you do get a good run going into turn number 2, which is a tricky place to get yourself in on the inside to make that pass. So a very great race there for you. And I think it was about 17 seconds behind Jacques Racing in the end there. So a great drive there from Jacques, great drive there from Morris. And I also just want to just give kudos there to Jakes, because it was always just within that 2 seconds of Morris. He made that a mistake. We didn't quite see it, but while he wasn't really in the fight directly with Morris and Jason, he was definitely there waiting for that opportunity.
I actually saw him when he touched the sausage curb there, and he just had unsettled his car, and that's where me and Marius passed him. Actually hoping that Jake would actually give him some pressure so I can just break free of that.
I'm pretty sure you're hoping for Jakes to catch up. No, an absolute great race there for you, Jason. Well done.
Thank you very much, man.
Cool. Ashley, I'm just checking that you're still with us. Okay, I see that Ashley's microphone is still off. So with that, guys, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Stan, I hope that we do get to see you coming and racing with us again. Dirkie, we need to get you racing on some Assetto Corsa. And one day I'll get myself in an Assetto Corsa race. Maybe we should do a little special event, and I'll jump in. So guys, just remember that this league is proudly brought to you by Deliver Your Parcel. And remember that the winners of this championship do go into the lucky draw with the Monday Night Alpha and Bravo tiers. And we will be selecting 3 lucky winners that will be participating in the Deliver Your Parcel Invitational team for that race on the 24th of July. It's definitely something that you want to be a part of. Don't forget, Monday we'll be racing once again, and I'll hopefully get my redemption back. Sorry, Ash, you're not here to defend yourself, but I was on the inside. You shouldn't have been there. I'm just kidding, Ash. It's all good, dude. So, guys, just a quick word from our sponsor just before we do the sign-off. Then a big thank you to Duncan, just sitting in the background there, just talking to me every now and again. Duncan, thank you so much for saying how's it, and just joining us in the commentary box.
My pleasure.
And looking, hope you're looking forward to a Monday as we head round number 2 in our GT3 sprint series.
I'll get the lawnmower out and do a bit of grass cutting.
Listen, I love my little lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
The lawnmower definitely has done me well. So with that, guys, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody once again. Thank you to Deliver Your Parcel. Thank you to Duncan for joining me. Thank you for Ashley for starting up, and a great result there for you. I think the reason Ashley can't say anything is because I had muted him.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I told Duncan. Because Duncan can hear me.
Ah. But at least I figured it out, Ashley. I did. Well, there you go. So, Ashley, anything from you?
Well, I just want to say, guys, I had a fantastic race. Well, I enjoyed myself thoroughly. And if you want to get involved, please go sign up on our website www.sarcoracing.co.za. Go become a member. Go check out our merchandise. We've got some cool caps. You can see Dylan's wearing his. And we have some water bottles and face masks if you guys are interested. Very reasonable prices. The proceeds go towards hosting these sort of events. And also sometimes a bit goes to the prize money if we're lucky. So guys,
get lucky for that.
Please help us out, and see you on the track.
So
what did you do?
No, I've just seen a comment here coming from Dirkie saying Monday it's me and you, Dylan. Mamba soup coming up. Oh, here we go. Dirkie, I will take that as an official calling out. And I've got you. You and your little Rockstar Audi. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, let's hope you finish the race.
I must just stay away from you and I'll be fine.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. With that, all I can say is keep practicing. And thanks for watching. Yos.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.